Jake, what's up, man? I know you're always in the background. Thanks for doing that. Welcome back, everyone. We've got Sierra Interactive with us. We've got Scott, JC, and Buddy Blake, and we're going to be talking about creative ways to connect with people that want to sell their homes. And Buddy just shared with us some amazing things that he's doing, some discoveries that we're going to go through. And I'm just excited to be on this because the last one we had, JC did such a great job co-hosting this with me. So glad to see her on this again. So Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah,
You're on this one with us.
appreciate that. So Tristan and everyone, I'm actually the director of channel sales. So what I do here at Sierra is we kind of look for ways to continue to partnership with other folks that want to use our services, and so part of that is kind of some of the masterminds and webinars and things that we do. So I'm excited to be here today to kind of share some of that insight with you all as well.
I love that. And JC, once again, for those that are new, what are you up to at Sierra?
Of course. Hi, everybody. I'm the director of marketing over at Sierra, so work super closely with Scott and the rest of the team to, really just bring you guys great ideas. And we're super excited to have one of our top clients, Buddy Blake, on with us today. So Buddy is a longtime Sierra user, has some great ideas. We actually had heard about a lot of what he was doing on the seller side of things on a brainstorming meeting that we had with him back in December. And I said, hey, let's share this with the broader network so that we can share with you guys some cool ideas that are just beyond some of the standard things that you should be doing to get listings during this time. So thanks for having us.
Thanks. And Buddy, you're the star of the show, man. Tell us a little bit about you and where you're at.
Well, I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina. I am probably older than most of you guys. I actually knew JC at a different platform years ago, or at least was there. And I think I've been on every CRM and system there is. But I've owned brokerages. I run a small team now. I owned Remax brokerages for 13 years. And then I sold my brokerage to a Coldwell banker, one of the largest in the world. And now we are running a team out of that, it's really nice to not own a brokerage now, in a shifting market with overhead. So I'm enjoying just working with my team, and it's given me an opportunity to re-engage with building out, because we were early on with home value leads. We built guaranteedsale.com years ago with Jay Kinder and some of those guys. And then we sold that to Real Estate Webmasters. So we were kind of the only other thing out there other than a Zestimate. And but then everybody jumped in. So, but long story short, but what we found is we've been nurturing these leads that we created, because everybody said, oh, they're crap. They come through Facebook, over the years. Well, we've probably got 10 or 12,000 seller leads in our system. And we did start using Ryan Young's High Fellow, and that is the most disturbing but good information you get, because you get an email every day when somebody in your database lists their house with some other agent. And then we start deconstructing every single one of those. And I was going to, once we get into it, I was going to share you the screen that just shocked me, and how, I am all automation, I'm all tech, I'm all believing that. But when it comes into a transitional market with sellers, and especially with most of them being local, I think the field is so diluted, and the windshield is so full of bugs being realtors, bugs being automations. I don't think that they're paying attention, and whoever is top of mind when whatever life change happens is who they're calling. And we're trying to break through. And since we kind of fell into this, we started tracking this thing for the last 2 or 3 months. I mean, we're about as old school as you can be hitting these people. I mean, as simple as business cards, as simple as whatever it takes. But we have figured out some other ways to get their attention, and systems that they seem to trust. So we use our Sierra system. We leverage some others like Loom, because the deliverability on platforms like that is extremely high. Same thing with Adobe. We started sending our stuff through Adobe a lot because the deliverability is extremely high. And just we're less reliant on a lot of the texting. I mean, we still do it, but we're trying really hard to pull back on the automations and get front and center with these people. I've got a whole plan I can share with anybody that wants it. I mean, we call it, it goes into the details exactly how we've been doing it, because I created it for my team and for folks that I kind of coach with. I call it proof of life marketing. Show them proof of life that we are real. And because right now, nobody is sending these people anything, getting in front of them physically, because you can't scale it and you can't leverage it. And we've tried thanks.io, send out cards, all the nice automated handwriting. Doesn't work. The customer understands this stuff. They get it. So
All right, well, let's start with that and then go backwards. But what is proof of life marketing? What does that look like?
all right, well, let me show you. Can I show you one thing that I think it'll help?
Sure.
We started tracking from real seller leads from High Fellow, that we're able to see the people that's in our database, leads that we have paid for. Some of these go back to 2015. We have been sending these people things, market updates, e-alerts, everything. But I want you to look. Now, we've got a sampling of 93, because it's really hard to track these because there's no way to automate it. We called 93% of these people and spoke to them if they had a valid number. We only put anything physical in front of 4% of these people. And because I was looking for the one common thing, what is the most common thing that we are not doing to get in front of these people for whenever that change of life happens, death, divorce, destitution. And then I started looking at it and I said, okay, if Tristan, if all of a sudden you listed your house, I saw you listed your house, I look back in my Sierra CRM and I'm like, what would have made them call me if I make the assumption that they're not getting the emails or paying attention to the emails? Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
What physical presence was I in their life to some degree? And and we started doing that, and we're getting response. So we went from getting 1% of the listings of our own database to now, in about 4 weeks, over the last 4 weeks, we're up to 6% of the listings that come online. There's been 300 and some that's come online that's in our database. We've got 23 of them in the last 4 weeks, whereas we were getting about 1% before that, simply by, sometimes I don't really care what you send them. A note card with a business card, because you've already stood out, and again, this is like Brian Buffini 101. But for sellers, it's so hard to leverage and scale, but the ROI on this stuff is incredible. You've already paid for the lead.
Yeah, well, buddy, this part, some people don't understand where you paid for the lead for and how you got it in the first place. Because let's go back to square one. How'd you get these leads?
An awful lot of these leads were originally where we were posting, doing Facebook leads. When we had guaranteedsale.com, we did a lot of PPC, national PPC for different areas we had agents in. And of course, for our area, we did it. We get a lot of these leads with farming. We've used a number of systems like Prospect Now. We're able to kind of get them in our system and get them in our ecosystem where they start getting things.
Got it.
And PPC, Facebook marketing. Then I do a lot of, I've been a rate member. I was a rate member, one of the early rate members. So we do radio, we do billboards, we do a lot of other presence marketing.
Okay.
But I think that, this is kind of where we jump into the proof of life. Do you have this screen?
Yeah. And then, buddy, can you scroll up to the top to your headers list? I know you wanted to show the statistics down there at the bottom, but I'm just curious to really understand like when they've been in your system. And I think that was the column I was looking for in column J. So what you're saying is that there's some of these leads that have been in your system since 2015, 2016,
Yeah.
and
And
you've been dripping on them with, say, electronic types of touches, property values, AVM, stuff like that. But they're not converting.
HomeBot. I mean, we were early adopters in the beta system of HomeBot, all the different systems, and they all worked for a while. But you can't just sit there and wait. Like these were imported. You know, JC, you'll appreciate this. This was when we came over from Boomtown. This was an import from Boomtown. And then it even goes back to some of these were imports from RAW. So I mean, some of these people we've been in for a while.
Yeah,
One
man.
of these that we have noticed, this is a guy named Andy Cole, but these are all long form home evaluations on PPC. These are not how much is your house worth, just to how much is your house worth. This is, I mean, he literally, it's the simplest thing. He uses type form, and there's a whole lot of questions in it. But really, the questions are around what stage of your life, what would it take to move, and things like that. I mean, it's a difficult form. The leads are more expensive because there's about 9 questions it asks, so you
Okay.
get a lot of dropout. But we found that it seems to be the long forms are getting better conversion than the short forms.
Which makes sense, man. If people are going to hang in there to answer these questions, they're going to hang in there to talk to you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, I mean, we go back and again, we have to go person by person. We don't really have a way of getting this out, but you can see right here that, you know, we've got over the last 4 weeks, we've got 6% of the listings that were in our database, our own database, which is, I think, with their records, 30,000. We got of the ones that came on the market, 330 got listed. We got 21 of them. We lost 301 of them, or 309 of them. And then when you start looking into that, you know, a lot of our action plans ran out. A lot of our e-alerts stopped because they didn't click it within a year. And quite honestly, a lot of our saved searches in all our systems, whether it's Sierra or any other, are useless now because the criteria that we had set 3 years ago for, you know, send me homes for up to $250,000 is useless now. So if those
there's no homes that are 250,000 or under anymore, is what you're saying, because of the 2020, 18% price increases. Yes.
So guess what? Nothing is firing to go to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like there needs to be, you know, we have to go through item by item and reset all these e-alerts, all the market updates, because I mean, the market has just shifted so much in the last 3 years. I mean, our average price was $250,000, 2019. It's 540 now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, but all of these things, but it really, I didn't start thinking about that. But when I started getting, I hate those emails in the morning. When I get those emails at those lost opportunities, all I can think about is they've been in my system since 2016. And I can scroll back, I mean, dozens of pages with emails, text messages, We've been through every automation system you can probably buy that just plugged in, and it didn't work. So many of them never responded to one single thing. And we called them and talked to them. But now, I mean, we send out stuff and it's getting their attention because we're the only ones doing it. And I'm not talking about mass postcards and crap like that. You know, I'm talking about things that matter to people. Like I can show you this. I mean, we break this down all the way down, and you know, if there's somebody wants it, I can share it, but just it needs to be personal people. I can't open it up to everybody because there's actually real life screen event stuff. But we walk through the whole video of it, and then you know they're going to get this in the mail. All right. What is the big topic right now? I mean, that's the #1 objection pain point in the world right now. Okay. I don't know where I'm going to go. So it's a video that walks around them. It drives them back to a landing page and they get it. You know, the next one is bridge pricing, but we have a number of these follow-up things that we put in with cover letters. We use Focus First. We send them whenever a new lead comes in, for instance. Let me give you an example. If you got a minute.
Yeah.
We do a 10-year, like if somebody comes in and they re-engage, they do a home value lead, they email, they call back, any kind of behavioral or anything like that, that we can see that they're re-engaging. All right. First thing we do is we check them in, we use high fella, but we also go to the Zestimate and we print it because that's what's in their head, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. If you go on a listing appointment or talk to a seller, you better go ahead and know what that is, because I can assure you they already do.
So, buddy, can I interrupt you there real quick? Hold that
Yeah.
thought. So
Yeah.
here's a best practice. So we have a custom field in Sierra. And what some folks of ours have started to do is, to your point, as soon as that seller lead comes in, they go out to Zillow and they look up the Zestimate for that property. They copy and paste that Zestimate and put that into the custom field in Sierra. And then in these URL string, you can customize the URL string like what it's called. They put 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, say $550,000, and it obviously has a date that was in there.
Right.
So now you're rolling through those people and looking for something to talk to them about. And
Right.
you go back 4 months later, and now all of a sudden you pull their Zestimate because the link's live, right? You've linked it to Zillow, and then you click on the link, and now it's not, say, 500, it's 600,000. Now there's a conversation to say, you know what? The last time we took a look at this for you, it was 550,000. Today, we just looked at it again, it's 60,000 or 600,000. So there's $50,000 worth of appreciation just in the last 4 months. Have you considered making a sale? So it's a good best case use for that, for doing exactly what you're currently doing, but for logging that data.
Well, we're doing it, but one thing, I mean, we're having it post in notes. We've got an API, we've got the access to the API to Zillow, which everybody does. And you can actually take, and if you can kind of quasi run it through Zapier, and you can get that update into your notes system too. So you can do it that way. It's a little antiquated, but we just want to see what people are looking at. If they're looking at values, but then, like for instance here, you know, this goes into, this is a whole workflow for our agents that we get to and we show them. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm going to get to, like, this is a report that they're going to get. This is a silly ninja selling focus first spreadsheet. But what it does, it takes their neighborhood, it doesn't nail in a price, but it tells them when the houses sell. It tells them all the different automations that are out there, but it allows them to be able to see the timelines, like when they should sell their house, you know, how's things trending. And this goes out immediately physically to every single customer. It's printed and then we send it, but the whole scope of it is in this that I go through. Hold on just a minute. Let me go back to where am I? Here we go. And then I send them day 2. This has been powerful for us. I don't, but the agent or myself, they'll go through a Loom video with the same information and send it through Loom. Share it through Loom or BombBomb or whatever other video screen sharing system you use, because the open rates are fantastic. And again, they have a Zapier, so it'll pop it in there into your notes in Sierra or your CRM, so you know that they're looking at this stuff. So that is sending it through Loom is powerful because it puts your face in it, you know, your personal, and it takes about 5 or 6 minutes to do it. But I mean, with the average price of $500,000, you know, what I do have now is time, or what our agents do have is time.
That's true. Buddy, I have a question. You're
Yep.
using Loom right now to do these videos, so that's cool. Why are you on Sierra though? Because you went around and used all of these different products. Why are you finally stuck on Sierra?
Oh, I've been with Sierra. I made a decision a long time ago. I mean, quite frankly, when Boomtown went to WordPress, you know, because I was an early REW guy because of organic. I mean, I used 80% of my leads used to be organic back when you could really do some stuff, probably black hat, not black hat, but you could do some stuff. And then I'd moved over with Greer and those guys over there. And then when they moved to WordPress, I had made a decision. No, I want to be able to index the whole IDX, and you know, and so I looked everywhere. I went to Real Geeks, which was a pretty good system, but it was clunky. And I kind of had an idea Jeff Manson was going to be selling that at some point. So I went to Ben at the time at Sierra and was looking at them, and I was early on, and they do extremely well organically.
Yeah, they do.
Well,
Extremely well organically. Over half of our buyer leads are still organic.
right. And that's really part of one of the, main value propositions of Sierra, Buddy. And, to say it in a summary is that we are a wireframe custom built template that is very SEO friendly so that it does help you with your organic search results. We're not WordPress. We're not Squarespace. And that really is one of the key differentiators that sets us apart. And you just nailed the reason why.
Well, and what I really like is, I love the innovation intervals. They were quickly moving to direct transfer. They quickly, they've got the texting game. Of course, everybody, we're fighting all the same texting stuff. I don't care who you are with Twilio and everything else. But I mean, they were really quick to add a lot of different things, that we would suggest. We'd say, hey, can you do this and do that? And I like Sierra. It's, to me, and listen, there's a lot of great CRMs out there. I don't have to have a different IDX website. It's all built into one. It's a great system for keeping notes, communicating with our team, has action plans built in. It's got everything that I need. They manage your PPC for free. So, I mean, there's no charge for that. So that's, in most worlds, that's at least $500 a month savings.
Yeah.
I think that I hope I didn't speak out of myself there, but.
Well, yeah, and it's, so we do offer different levels of PPC management. And when you grow to the size that you're at, Buddy, then, there's some little bit of comping there, but there is a charge for our management today, just to set the record straight, but it's 10% of your spend. So even if you had a $3,000 ad budget, you're really only looking at $300 management fee with us. So, and it's very transparent from what we're doing. We'll get into that some other time, but there you go, just to set that.
Okay, well, I blew that one out, so sorry about that.
No problem,
but it's still a deal because I'm watching people charge $1,500 a month to manage a PPC account.
That's very true. That's very true.
And so we do a lot of that, and then it's just a matter of, we just got to keep getting in front of these people. I mean, in social, we've started heavy in the last month. We use somebody that is, we're retargeting through YouTube where we hadn't been using YouTube. We've been doing some retargeting with buyers on the Facebook side and Instagram, but now we've moved every bit of that to the seller side, because if they're getting it in the mail from us, if they're seeing it on YouTube, if they're seeing it there, and then of course we've been doing a Monday morning coffee system, which JC had mentioned. It's just literally, it's not every Monday, but I started it probably 16 years ago. It is the best dollar productive I ever did. It was back, Real Pro Systems was an early platform, and they had that, Galen Haas, I think his name was, they had built that into it, and then I just copied it, and it basically is stories, real estate stories, quick updates about what's going on. And we've got probably 80 or 90,000 people in that. And are the open rates great? No, I mean, probably 18 to 20%, but different people open them. And that is the one thing that people say, builders, developers, they're like, I've been getting your Monday morning coffee for years.
That's part of, would you say that that's part of proof of life marketing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's proof of life, but I think you got to get physical. Our industry has, we're trying to do everything electronically, but the only reason real estate agents are around is because it's a very personal and emotional and a difficult decision and a very unique decision. And, the concept of removing ourselves from that process is not a really good thing to do. Like every time I try over the years, I've tried, and I've done well over the years. Every time I've tried to step into that mythical seventh level, it never works for me. because what I've learned is I still need to go on a few listing appointments with some of my agents to be relevant, because the conversations that are being had now are whole different conversations that were had years ago. I mean, actually months ago. So now every conversation we're having right now is sellers are getting ready to want to sell again because the rates aren't quite so shocking. And
Mhm.
a lot of the sellers, quite honestly, have enough equity that they may not need to borrow, but they don't know what to do if their house sells too quick. So now we're bringing in, hey, not just lease backs, but lease options. Uh, it's not rocket science, but the consumer, we understand all these words and lingo, but the consumer does not understand these things.
Very
And if you can get it in front of them where they're having conversations, and then they start forwarding your information, you're going to be perceived as the person that they can trust.
Very true.
Yeah.
Buddy, JC
Sorry, go
put
ahead.
up JC put up the blog to your Monday morning coffee there in the chat. So everyone that wants to take a look at it, please do. Scott, shoot, buddy.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to speak over there. So buddy, what I think you said was very proverbial, was very profound, was that there's so many people that have equity built up in their homes. They don't know what that equity is, and they may not even need to borrow a very large sum of money. And so the interest rates really wouldn't be a prohibiting factor. And so I think there's a mindset shift there, kind of a paradigm shift when you from an agent's perspective and looking at, well, why should I talk to sellers about selling? They're going to have to get a loan. The interest rates are so high. Well, gosh, they could have very high equity and not even have to borrow, to your point.
Well, I think you also have to understand your demographic. I live in a world where the whole Northeast retires to, okay, from the New Jersey, Northeast, places like that. But what's happened is a lot of them, they're in their 70s. They don't owe money on these houses because they sold their house for whatever in New Jersey, and they came down here and it's like toyland for them. But they've been here for a while. Their kids have moved away, and strangely enough, they want to move closer to their friends, or they're going to go into independent living. So they are wanting to sell their houses, but their fear is, where am I going to go? Because I know my house is going to sell. Where am I going to go while I'm waiting? Because if it's independent living, you typically are on a waiting list for 3, 4, 5 months. So where am I going to go in that gap? If I got to build a house, where am I going to go in that gap? And they do not want to move twice, and they do not want to have any extra hassle, and they do not want to risk the normal, hey, I'll sell you my house, I'm going to close, I'm going to move out, I'm going to go to a short-term rental. That's not going to work for these people. So
No.
that's a big segment of our demographic. But then we also have, we're close to Camp Lejeune and Fort Bragg military. And, quite honestly, you better know your products, your financial products, because, I'm big on the company that owns where I'm at now, owns a big mortgage company. But I also talk about some of the other products, like you can get a 5.25% 30-year VA rate with the Navy Credit Union. Okay, no points. Well, you better know all your products and not just your favorite lender's products, because that's the conversation. Because when you start talking with fives in the front, the fear of buying goes away, and the
That's
fear of selling goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because of your consistent connection to what's currently happening with your audience. How do you connect with them through mailers and through calls using Sierra? What type of marketing are you doing, and what does a conversation sound like? Is it around the same thing?
It's around the same thing. I send out the Monday morning coffee. They don't want me doing that. I don't send that out 100,000 emails through their servers. So I send that out. I use Flowdesk for that. And I move. I move from Mailchimp, but they're expensive. Blah blah blah. So I use Flowdesk, and I drive them back to landing pages and blog pages with conversion points. But we've also, on those type, we've pulled back on forced registration. You know, because we're trying to be a little more Zillow-ish in how we deal with people that's already in our database. Because I mean, the reason the consumer goes to Zillow is because they don't want to be forced to be talking to an agent right away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just it. And they want to be able to act when they're ready. So we go there. They have really, Sierra has really nice landing, you know, whether you use the blog or the content pages, you can create really nice forms. You can do HTML embeds, like widgets for different third-party systems. We do video a lot. They have a really nice video platform where you just put in your link to either your Vimeo or YouTube. I put stuff on YouTube only because for exposure, but I prefer using Vimeo because it doesn't expose them to who knows what at the end of the video.
Mhm.
You know, and I think it's a better presentation. But we use it as our central everything. Sierra is our CRM. It is our task system. It is our transaction system. I mean, it is everything that we do, we drive it back. We do use third parties to help figure out what's going on, because we realized a long time ago, if somebody's on your Sierra, call it, and they're not looking at houses, that doesn't mean they're not looking at houses. They're just not looking at houses on your website.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So that's exactly right. And, you know, so you can't just assume by the activity or inactivity on the website. And then I just don't trust that our emails on any system are getting through
I
the
like
way
it.
they once did.
Buddy, you're a wealth of knowledge, man. I'd love to have you back. I think we only scratched the surface of what you offer as far as value for real estate so that we could do better. Scott, JC, anything you want to say in closing?
Well, I was just going to say that, Sierra does have an open API, right? Which is we're not a closed ecosystem, so that it does allow tools that Buddy was referencing earlier to be integrated in the widgets and the things that we do, complement the already very rich, product offering that we have. So that's all my closing statement on that.
I think I was just
And I
going to
will
jump
say
in.
the automations, real quick.
Mhm.
They have amazing automations. They've taken automations to a new level. And I play with some of these other systems now too, because I have to with the brokerage. But I would tell you they're second to none with their automations and their Zapier of triggers.
And just to tag onto that, I think, Buddy, a lot of what you've talked about before is getting back to basics when it comes to generating listings and really excelling at some of the basic things. You talked about sort of doing like a database audit almost that will update, some of the e-alerts and stuff like that you have going out because there are not homes within price points that there were several years ago. So that's just a great strategy for everybody, especially.
Or they haven't clicked one in a year, and then all the
Exactly.
systems they kind of unsubscribe. That's just the way it works. And you need to re-engage with these people.
Yep, exactly. And it's a perfect time of year. It's January. You can still hit those New Year's goals by doing some of those key things and really focusing on the basics, like getting back to the phone calls, the direct mails, things that have worked in the past. Specifically, as we're heading into heavy listing season, nailing some of those, getting your team really focused in on some of those, I think will help set you up for success.
I like that, buddy. I love how you use Sierra as the core to everything, and it all leads back to Rome. So,
well, we
job.
teach here's the deal. Our agents, we're able to train them in one system. We don't train them in the other systems. We bring it all back there. I don't want to train agents in multiple systems. So that's it. All I have to teach them is how to get on the phone, how to hit the dialer, and use the smart filters. We'll take care of everything else.
Buddy, thank you so much. Scott, JC, thanks for jumping on.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Kristen.
Bye, everyone.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.